Like giant tombstones above Kuala Lumpur stand the ruins of 2 apartment blocks, gutted and empty. These are the Highland Towers. A third block once stood alongside. Today, there is a vacant, overgrown space reclaimed by the jungle. "17 years ago, that long-vanished block collapsed in the catastrophic blink of an eye.
I saw it coming down in slow motion, very slow motion, and then the whole building fell. After that, there was complete silence, deafening silence.
The collapse of Highland Towers killed 48 people. This is the story of that tragedy. In 1993, Highland Towers is tucked away in a green oasis on the east side of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia's capital, and offers its residents magnificent views of the city.
It was a lovely place to live. It was cooling, breezy, very quiet.
Basically, we had a vertical compound.
I had lived there for 14 years, and I had good friends among the residents.
There was a really nice atmosphere, and the kids could go to anybody's house, knock on the door and just see somebody. It really had quite a good community spirit feeling about the place.
Highland Towers comprises 3 identical 12-story blocks. Each block is 2 towers in one, joined together by a central service core, including lifts and stairs. A steep hillside rises immediately behind the 3 towers. This has been partly terraced to provide space for more development. The safety of the residents of Highland Towers depends on the structural integrity of this hill slope. December 1993. The northeast monsoon arrives on schedule. As usual, Kuala Lumpur is awash.
It was raining a lot.
Every day for almost 2 weeks.
Heavy rainfall is normal that time of the year, but this was exceptional.
In the early morning of December the 11th, there is a light drizzle. But the day soon begins to clear. It's a welcome reprieve. But out of sight, just beneath the steep slope behind the towers, something is happening that will bring tragedy and shatter lives. Teenager Sasha Bashir is attending a dance class on the other side of the city.
Just before I left the house in the morning, I looked back over my shoulder, and I remember thinking, just having this strange, feeling that, I wasn't really going to see it like this again.
It was a typical Saturday in Malaysia, and many residents had gone to work for the morning. Inside Block 1, a number of families went about their weekend chores. Just after lunch, their world changed forever.
There was this awful noise, and I didn't know what it was, but it was really horrible. Loud, deafening. There was probably a sense of some sort of a foreboding feeling.
On her way home, Dr. Hui stops to talk to a friend who lives on the first floor and is having her apartment renovated.
I also heard some sort of rumbling sound. And I asked her, "Are your workers grinding the floor?"
On the 4th floor of the neighboring Block 2, Bruce Mitchell, an American on holiday, has just come back from Christmas shopping. He is enjoying a beer on his balcony. He has an excellent view of Block 1.
Suddenly, I heard a loud rumbling noise. I thought that someone was throwing cans down the garbage dispenser. Then the noise just kept going on.
Bruce has the presence of mind to grab a camera. He could see the retaining wall behind Block 1 disintegrating.
I saw movement on the hill of what looked like something underneath the grass. It was rippling, and then everything was kind of pouring out of that big hole in the retaining wall.
Inside her third-floor apartment, Sasha Bashir's mother, Annette, realizes that something is terribly wrong.
The second daughter was at home, Sabrina. So then I called to her and just said, come. And she's a really obedient sort of person. And so she didn't sort of say why or anything, she just came. And we ran down the stairs like 2 and 3 steps at a time, like jumping down the stairs. My heart felt like it was pounding in my mouth.
On the ground floor, Dr. Hui makes a decision that saves her life.
Big stones were coming towards us from the back staircase. I sensed there was some danger. I said, we had better run out. Just like that.
On the 4th floor, Carlos Musa is in the shower. His wife Rosina senses extreme danger. She has a baby, Marisa.
My sister said to Lita, the maid, take Marisa out as soon as possible. As she walked down the staircase, the building walls were beginning to crack, and by the time she reached the ground level, chasms were building up in the ground, and she had to jump, and she fell about 3 times before she finally got to safety.
We ran for about 200 meters maybe. I looked back and I couldn't believe my eyes.
I could see the building starting to quiver. I remember saying to my daughter, we've made it this far, I don't want to get killed by a piece of flying concrete.
Bruce Mitchell is still snapping away from Block 2.
I was stunned because the building started to move. It was just gliding. And all of a sudden, there was a low snapping noise, and then the building started to topple.
The residents who had miraculously escaped now watched the final moments of Block 1.
As it hit the ground, this big cloud of dust suddenly just took over the place, took over everything, and nobody could see anything.
The echoes from the sound of the building falling, they went on for a few seconds, and then after that it was just silence. Something that you see in the movies, I mean, not in real life.
Disbelief. How can this happen? This is Malaysia. We're not in an earthquake zone.
Zarif Effendi was playing in Block 2, but his siblings were in Block 1.
I was just going around like a crazy person trying to find my brother or sister, trying to ask people, have you seen my brother and sister? Have you seen my brother or sister?
It has taken just 5 minutes for Highland Towers Block 1 to collapse like a house of concrete cards. 12 floors of apartments lie smashed and broken. 50 family homes have been obliterated. An unknown number of people are trapped inside the mass of twisted wreckage. Kuala Lumpur's emergency services face the most daunting rescue operation in the city's history. December the 11th, 1993. In Kuala Lumpur's Ampang district, Highland Towers Block 1 collapses. An unknown number of residents are trapped in the wreckage. The nation's fire service, the bomber, is first to respond.
Lebih kurang pukul 1:30, terima panggilan kejadian bangunan runtuh Highland Tower. Kita orang pun terus menuju ke tapak Highland Tower yang tumbang. Bila tiba di sana, saya terkejutlah dan tergamamlah.
The firefighters confront a scene of unparalleled destruction. Thousands of tons of steel and reinforced concrete look as if they had been flattened by the swipe of a vengeful giant's hand. From the ruins comes a shrill symphony of car alarms. For the bomber team, the collapse of an entire apartment block is the biggest challenge they have ever faced.
When the first bomber guys came along, for like a few seconds, they just looked at the building and I guess they had no idea what to do. I mean, they've probably never seen this before.
The bomber team have good reason to proceed with care. The disaster site is potentially a death trap.
Saya dengan kawan-kawan saya rasa perlu membuat sesuatu untuk menyelamatkan mangsa. Jadi kita buat pencarian rambang di sekeliling bangunan. Tapi kita takut dia nak masuk bangunan sebab bangunan tu unstable.
The whole structure was still creaking and groaning. Shards of concrete were breaking off constantly, so you were showered from bits and pieces. Because the whole building was still in flux, I mean, it could have at any stage, to be quite honest, suddenly collapsed itself.
Ada bau kuat, bau petro dengan LPG, gas masak, dan bangunan tu pun masih bergerak lagi. Mana masih berbunyi, prap, 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 prap.
The worst danger that the rescuers face is a consequence of the way the two linked towers of Block 1 collapsed.
The front part of the building, as we knew it when it was in the air, had been crushed to less than a metre or maybe a metre and a half thick. The other part of the building stood up like a fishbone, and all the floors still erect, but when they should have been horizontal. Phenomenal.
These fishbones, the upended floors, are now vertical walls that threaten to collapse on top of the rescuers if they try to enter the structure. Once stood alongside, today there is a vacant, overgrown space reclaimed by the jungle. "17 years ago, that long-vanished block collapsed in the catastrophic blink of an eye.
I saw it coming down in slow motion.
In 1993, Highland Towers is tucked away in a green oasis on the east side of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia's capital, and offers its residents magnificent views of the city.
It was a lovely place to live. It was cooling, breezy, very quiet.
Basically, we had a vertical compound.
I had lived there for 14 years and I had good friends among the residents.
There was a really nice atmosphere and the kids could go to anybody's house, knock on the door and just see somebody. It really had quite a good community.
Very slow motion, and then the whole building fell. After that, there was complete silence, deafening silence.
The collapse of Highland Towers killed 48 people. This is the story of that tragedy. Like giant tombstones above Kuala Lumpur stand the ruins of two apartment blocks, gutted and empty. These are the Highland Towers. A third block